The dispatcher wanted to send the tugs out to work again, but he was waiting to hear from George to see if the harbor was safe and clear of dangerous trees. George hurried towards the dock, looking very worried.
You look like you've seen a ghost,
grinned Emily. The other tugs all smiled, too. All except for Theodore. Theodore knew he had seen a ghost out there.
George,
said the dispatcher.
Is the harbor safe? Are there any trees in the water?
Well, George didn't know what to say to the dispatcher. He couldn't say the harbor was safe, not with that ghost out there. But he had said there were no such things as ghosts, and after all, he was the tug who was always right.
Well, sir,
George began.
I'm not sure. I think I'd better have another look at that ghost. I mean, the coast. Very well, George,
said the dispatcher.
This time, I would like Theodore to go with you. Take the salvage barge to collect anything dangerous you find in the water. That is all.
But, stammered George.
Theodore can't come with me. Why not?
Frowned the dispatcher.
Because,
said George.
Because the harbor is safe. I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. George,
said the dispatcher, quickly losing his patience.
First, you said you weren't sure if it was safe, and now you say it is. You will leave immediately with Theodore and not waste any more time. That is all.
George set off, feeling miserable. He wished he hadn't been so quick to tell Theodore that he was wrong about the ghost. Then he wouldn't be going out again right now. Out to where George was sure the ghost was waiting for him. George led the way towards Shipwreck Rock, with Theodore pulling Bobby Barge in his salvage crane. It was getting late in the day. The pea-soup fog was hanging even lower over the harbor. We're almost at Shipwreck Rock, Theodore thought to himself worriedly. That's where I saw the ghost. George was worried, too.
I hope I don't see the ghost,
he thought to himself. Then he had an even worse thought.
I hope Theodore doesn't see the ghost. I told him there are no such things as ghosts, and I'm the tug who is always right. Theodore, said George out loud, you wait here. I'll check to see if the ghost is clear. I mean coast. There may be some big trees in the water that were hit by lightning. I mean lightning.
George headed towards Shipwreck Rock. But as soon as he was out of sight of Theodore, George stopped his engine and just floated silently, listening. Foghorn? Seagull? Waves in the rocks. George was naming all the sounds he heard, all the good old familiar, not a ghost sounds. Meanwhile, Theodore floated along by himself, naming all the things he saw, all the good old, familiar, not a ghost things. Shadows, dock, a scary rock.
Another foghorn,
said George.
Boat whistle. Ghost. Ghost!
Shouted George. That strange sound belonged to the ghost. George raced to where he had left Theodore. Theodore was nowhere to be found. Then George had a terrible thought. Maybe Theodore saw the ghost. Or maybe the ghost saw Theodore. Suddenly something bumped right into him.
Oh!
Cried George. Then he saw it was Theodore.
Where were you?
Asked George.
I was worried about the ghost,
admitted Theodore.
I did see one, even if you don't believe me. Well, I've inspected everything,
frowned George.
And the ghost is clear. I mean, the coast.
What was that?
Said Theodore. There was that strange sound again.
Ding. Ding.
Starting the work meeting when Theodore arrived.
Tugboats,
said the dispatcher.
We only have one ship arriving later today, and I will need a tug in charge. Now, who do we have?
The dispatcher looked around at the tugs. Theodore was about to say something when George gave a loud blast of his whistle.
George,
Said the dispatcher.
Ah, yes, George. You will...
Excuse me.
Interrupted Theodore.
Yes, Theodore?
Said the dispatcher.
What is it?
Theodore swallowed the big lump in his throat. The dispatcher was waiting.
Pardon me, Mr. Thinking, but I was just dispatching.
Began Theodore.
I mean, excuse me, Mr. Tug in Charge, but today I would like to be the dispatcher.
Today, you would like to be me?
Said the dispatcher, who was most surprised.
No,
Said Theodore, who was getting kind of muddled.
I would like to be. I was wondering if I mean, do you think I could be the Tug in Charge?
There. He had said it.
Okay, Theodore.
Said the dispatcher.
Oh, that's okay.
Sighed Theodore, putting on a brave face.
Maybe some other time.
Theodore, called Hank.
The dispatcher said you could be the Tug in Charge.
He could,
Said Theodore. I mean, I did. I mean, I am.
Theodore let out a joyful blast of his whistle.
Thank you, Mr. Dispatcher, he said. I won't let you down. No, sir. I'll get right on it right away.
Theodore hurried out to meet the ship, filled with excitement. He was going to be the Tug in Charge. It seemed to be steaming in the hot sun. Could that stuff be what's causing this terrible smell, he wondered? Theodore didn't want to get any closer to that smell, so he called out to her in a loud voice.
The dispatcher said to tell you that your smell is broken. Your bell is broken.
Well, first, Benjamin Bridge started chuckling. And then Philip and Fillmore hooted with laughter. Theodore turned and wondered why everyone was laughing. Then he realized he had said that her smell was broken instead of saying that her bell was broken. He shook and shook, and you know what? It wasn't long before all the ice was gone. And there, in its place, was a beautiful sea trawler.
Top of the morning to you, tugboats,
Said the trawler.
You sure are funny.
Theodore and Hank, they could only stare at the ship in amazement.
Allow me to introduce myself.
Said the ship.
My name is Seamus, and I'm a sea trawler.
My name is Tugboat, and I'm a Hank, said Hank, who was so surprised to see such a beautiful ship he couldn't even speak properly.
How did you get all covered in ice?
Asked Theodore. I was fishing way out on the cold North Sea, replied Seamus, when a big storm came along and covered me up stem to stern in ice. Now, if it wasn't for you tugs making me laugh so hard, I'd probably be frozen all winter long. A voice deep inside Theodore's head told him. Theodore was halfway home before he even blinked.
Theodore,
Called Fodak.
where have you been? Boathouse,
Hollered Theodore.
haunted.
Theodore, shouting, woke up the other tugs.
Oh, he must have seen Halliburton,
Said Fodak.
Halliburton's a houseboat. Well, no one's afraid of him.
Snorted George.
Not even me, added Hank. There's nothing to be afraid of, Theodore,
Said Emily.
Well, that's that.
Concluded Fodak. The other tugs turned to go back to sleep.
But I am afraid.
Said Theodore softly.
Bobby was fast asleep.
Well, a job was a job. The tugboat must tug, so slowly, barely letting his motor make a sound, Theodore floated towards old dock number 23.
Maybe he's not there,
He said to himself.
but he was. Halliburton, the haunted houseboat. And he was starting to move. He's after me,
Shouted Theodore.
Where are you going, Theodore?
Theodore's cry had woken up Bobby.
Haunted houseboat.
Bellowed Theodore as he hurried away.
Halliburton, house haunted, housebroken Halliburton. The harbor was dark by now, except for the light of a full moon. And it was quiet, except the faraway sound. Theodore! Theodore was so startled by the loud voice, he backed right into... Foduck. Foduck, gasped Theodore. His stack was still shaking. Hunt bursted house button. Busted hellebroken. It's chasing me. Theodore, you really are afraid, aren't you? Said Foduck. Yes, I am, replied Theodore quietly. Foduck's special sonar machine poinged the way it did when he was thinking especially hard. It appears, he said at last, since I wasn't afraid of the houseboat, I didn't think you were either. I mean, none of us did. Well, said Theodore, I am.